Let's move on to our next topic, database system environment. Okay, as I told, a DBMS is a complex software system. Okay, so in this session, we are going to discuss a type of software components, okay, that constitute a DBMS and the type of computer system software with which the DBMS interacts. Okay, so let us move on to the diagram first. I'll show you. Hope it is clear for you. You can just view it. Okay, so here, as I'm showing the figure, this figure illustrates a typical DBMS components. Okay, it will illustrate the typical DBMS components in a simplified form. You can see this in a simple, what it is in the diagram is not so, okay, but it is in the simplified form. Okay, the DBMS components are represented in this diagram. Okay, so here if you see, the diagram is divided into two parts. Okay, the diagram is divided into two parts. This is top part and this is lower part. Okay, so top part is like the top part of the figure refers to the various users of database environment and their interfaces. Okay, and their interfaces. The lower part shows the internal modules of the, okay, this internal modules of the DBMS responsible for storage of data and processing of transactions. Okay, let us see in detail this one. What is that actually? So here the database and the DBMS catalog are usually stored on disk. Okay, as I have told you know before also, the databases and the DBMS catalog will be usually stored on the disk. So access to the disk is controlled primarily by operating system. In short, we call it as OS, right? Okay, which schedules disk read or write when the data has to be read. Okay, when how the data has to be read, what data has to be written, whether the writer or the user has the permission to write. All this will be controlled by the operating system. Okay, okay, because management of buffer storage has a considerable effect on the performance. Okay, so next we have a high level stored data manager. Okay, high level stored data manager. If you just zoom it and see, here we have stored data manager. So what is this stored data manager? It is a higher level, okay, manager or module, okay, module of the DBMS which controls access to DBMS information that is stored on the disk. Okay, so stored data manager is having a control, okay, to manage the access to the DBMS data stored on the disk. Okay, whether it is a part of the database or the catalog. Okay, so both it will be controlling the data access, okay, which is there in the catalog or which is there in the primary database. Okay, next we have next, we just move on to the top part now. So if you move on to the top part, we can see here we have so many interfaces. Okay, so many interfaces. You can see at the top level we have so many staff here. You can see or the users. Okay, users, DBA staff, casual users, application programmers, parametric users. Yes or no? For each type of user, there is a specified, okay, so they have their own type of interfaces, okay, interfaces through which they will be interacting with the DBMS, okay, interacting with the DBMS. Let us see here the DBA staff, okay, DBA staff, casual user who work with interactive interfaces Okay, casual user will work with interactive interfaces. So here it is written interactive query. So interactive interfaces. Okay, interactive interfaces means what? They will be supplying the command. Okay, they will be getting the response. Okay, like that. Like I will search for some information. Okay, then I'll just type in. Then I will get the result. Okay, it will be in means casual users will be using the interactive interface to get the response for the queries. Application programmers, okay, create programs using the host languages, okay, using the host languages. And the parametric users, okay, you can see here parametric users. So parametric users who do data entry work usually, okay, they will be doing the data entry work by supplying parameters to predefined transaction. This predefined transaction, we call it as a canet transaction. Okay, canet transaction. You can see here. These are the parametric users. Parametric users, what they will do? They will do usually data entry work. Okay, like they just if I go to the banking system, what the employees will be doing, they will take our slip and they will be entering our account number, yes or no, amount, all these things, right? They will be doing data entry work, okay, by supplying some parameters. What are the parameters? Account number, okay, amount, like that. Okay, so to predefine transaction, that transaction we call it as a canet transaction. Then we have a database staff here. So DBA staff works on defining the database and tuning it by making changes to its definition. Okay, the DBA staff works on defining the database. Okay, and tuning it by making changes to its definition using the DDL commands. Okay, DDL and other privileged commands. Okay, so that's why we can see here we have DDL statements. Okay, privileged commands. That interface is given for the database staff. Okay, database administrator staff. Okay, now database administrator staff can access the database, okay, or can work on database by using the DDL and privileged commands. So whenever the DDL statements is given, the DDL statement has to be compiled. So below that okay, behind that there will be a DDL compiler. Can you see here? We have a DDL compiler. So what the DDL compiler will do? The DDL compiler processes schema definition. Okay, you know by this time what is schema. Schema is nothing but description of the database. Okay, description of the database. Okay, so it is nothing but it is a metadata basically, you can say. Okay, it will process schema definition, okay, specified in the DDL statements. Okay, when I say DDL is nothing but what? It is to create the structure of the table, yes or no? Create table, okay, alter table. It is basically with respect to drop table, with respect to the structure of the table, DDL statements. Okay, so here this DDL compiler basically processes schema definition specified in the DDL statements and stores the description. Okay, and stores the description. You can see here now one arrow is dropped down. Okay, and stores the description of the schema. Okay, in the DBMS catalog. Okay, in the DBMS catalog, you can see here draw cylinder now. Okay, DBMS catalog or system catalog it is given, or data dictionary. Okay, we can say system catalog or data dictionary. So it will be storing into this. Okay, clear? Okay, next what it do? The catalog includes, okay, information such as what information the catalog will be having. It will be having like names and size of the files, okay, names and data types of the data item, storage details of each file, mapping information among schema and constraint. Okay, like in addition the catalog also stores many other types of information that are needed by the DBMS modules. Okay, which can then look up in the catalog information as needed. So catalog will be having so many things, all the information that actually we need about the our stored databases. Okay, whatever the stored databases, that means actual data. Okay, it will be having all the information about our actual data. Okay, so that's why it is called as catalog, or the contents we called as metadata. Okay, so this is about DBA. Okay, what the DBA will do? The DBA, okay, the DBA will the DBA will write the database staff will write the data DDL commands or DDL privileged commands. So the DDL commands will be compiled by DDL compiler. So this DDL compiler will direct all, it will just stores the description of the schema from the DDL statement to a system catalog. So that actually will be done by the DBMS system. Okay. Then next we have the casual user. Yes or no? Casual user. What the casual user will do? Casual users are the person with occasional need of information from the database. Usually interact using the interactive query. You can see here there is an interactive query. Okay, interactive query interface. So here interactive query interface, it can be menu based or mobile interface. Okay, that is typically used to interactive query automatically or to access scanned transaction. So here casual users, okay, the interface interactive query means it is a interface where it can be a menu based interface or the form based interface or graphical user interface or mobile application. Okay, mobile application where the casual user will be interacting. Okay, so when they give the query means basically it will be click on the button, okay, or selecting any option. Okay, that time when they select any option or when they click on the button, automatically one when they click on the button, it will trigger the DML statements written in the application program. Okay, you can see here query compiler. Okay, you can see below the interactive query there is a query compiler. Okay, so here what happens here, this whatever the casual users, okay, click on the button or type or click on the button or type something and press the search button or something. Okay, if they do like that, so here queries are passed. Okay, whatever they are pressed, okay, or clicked, that will be parsed, okay, and validated for correctness. Okay, correctness of the query syntax, okay, the name of the file or data elements and so on by query compiler. Okay, this query compiler, what it will do, it compiles, okay, it compiles them into a internal form. Okay, it will compile the query entered by the casual user into the internal form. Okay, this internal query is subjected to query optimization. Okay, so among other things, query optimizer is concerned with the rearrangement and possible reordering of operation, elimination of redundancy. Okay, then use of efficient search algorithm during execution. Like that, it will be doing so many things. Okay, query optimization, query compiler, what will do, whatever the query is there, if there any redundancy is there or if there any uh, algorithm, okay, algorithm need to be optimization means what, making things more efficient. Okay, making things more efficient and shorter, so that will be done. So next after this we have a, now below this we have a query optimizer. Yes or no? So query compiler will send to the query optimizer, as I told. Okay, query, the query casual end user will use menu based interface or what we say application apps on the mobile interface. Okay, that will be taken by the query compiler. It will convert that interactive query to a internal form. That internal form will be fed to the query optimizer. Okay, query optimizer actually is concerned with the rearrangement and the possibility of reordering of the operations, elimination of redundancy, making the query optimized form. Okay, the query optimizer will do. So this it will do. Okay, and it consults what you can see here. See, you can see here also dotted line is there. Here also dotted line is there. Okay, and here also dotted line is there. So here for every casual end user, the stored catalog or system catalog is connected. Okay, system catalog is connected. So here what it will do, it consults the query optimizer will consult the system catalog for statistical and other physical information about the stored data. Okay, and what it will do, it will generate executable code that performs the necessary operations for the query and makes the calls on the runtime processor. Okay, runtime data processor. So what is actually casual user is searching for some data, yes or no, that has to be supported or that has to be supplied to the casual end user. So the casual end user using menu based interface, he will be searching for the data or he will be using any other interface. When you click on the data, all things will be happening internally. So it will go to the interactive query. Interactive query will be handled by either query compiler. Query compiler will again forward the query to a query optimizer. Query optimizer will consult the catalog and get the information where actually the data is stored. After that, getting information, it will consult the runtime database processor. Okay, runtime database processor. I tell you what is this runtime database processor. Actually, it is internal part. Okay, lower part. Okay, runtime database processor. It executes many things. Okay, so you can see here connection. So many connections are there. Okay, I'll come to it later. So it will, what it will do, it will go to the store, it will consult the store system catalog, then it will get some information related to that query, and it will consult the runtime processor, and runtime processor will access the storage database and fetch the data and give to the casual user what he or she asked for. Okay, next what we have, application programmer. Okay, so application programmer, what the role of application means, how the DBMS will used by application programmer. So what application programmer? Application programmer are technical people who know about the DBMS. Yes or no? Who will be knowing about the DBMS. So application programmers write programs in host language. I told you know what are host languages. They are high level programming language such as C, Java, C++, okay, PHP, like that. So that are submitted to the pre-compiler. Okay, so application program, what they'll do, they will interact with the DBMS using an application program. Okay, this application program is written in a host language. I told host language means what? A high level language in which the DML commands will be embedded. Okay, DML commands will be embedded. So application program will be any application program. If we write Java program or C program or C++ program, all this has to be what? It has to be compiled, right? So to compile the application program, okay, application program or host language, we have to use pre-compiler. Please note this, we have to use pre-compiler. Okay, when I use pre-compiler, actually pre-compiler have one job. What that means, it has to extract the DML commands. Okay, DML commands from the application program written in the host programming language. Okay, written in the host programming language. Okay, hope you are understanding this what I am saying. Okay, application programmers will write the application program in host language. When I use the word host language, it is nothing but high level programming language which is having the, okay, DML commands. Okay, please note, which is having the or embedding the DML commands in that. Then only that high level programming language will be called as host language. Okay, so to handle this host language, we need a pre-compiler. Okay, so what the pre-compiler will do? Pre-compiler will extract the DML command, because for the our C compiler or Java compiler, DML statements are something new. Yes or no? They are not aware of that what is DML statement. So it has to be extracted from the host language. Only the high level language has to be passed to the compiler, our C compiler or C++ compiler or our any high level language compiler. Yes or no? So that is the job of this pre-compiler. What this pre-compiler will do? Compiler will extract the DML command, and the DML command will be given to the DML compiler. Okay, and remaining the host language will be there. No, host language, that means C programs or C++ or Java, that will be given to the host language compiler. If the high level language is C language, it will be given to the C compiler. Java means it will be given to the Java compiler. Okay, DML commands will be given to the DML compiler. Hope it is clear for you. Okay, so here when I give the DML compiler, what the DML compiler will do, the commands are sent to the DML compiler. Okay, so for compilation into a object code. Okay, object code for database access. Okay, the rest of the program is sent to the host language compiler. Yes or no? Okay, host language compiler. So the object code for the DML commands, okay, object code of the DML commands and the rest of the program are linked, forming a canet transaction. So this and this the DML compiler will compile the DML statements into object code, and the high level language is also compiled. So that will be combined, okay, to a canet transaction. You can make out this. This is canet transaction. Okay, canet, they are linked together. Okay, forming a canet transaction whose executable code, okay, code includes calls to the runtime processor. Okay, again this is linked to the runtime processor. Again it is coming to this. So the main access to the database is possible only to the runtime processor. So every interface of user is interacting with the runtime processor. It is also coming to the runtime processor. This is also coming to the runtime processor. Then DML privilege commands is also coming to the runtime processor. Okay. So here, this hope you understood this one. So next we move on to the lower part. Okay, lower part. So here we have the runtime processor. What the runtime processor will do? It will execute privilege command. It will execute executable query plans, which is optimized by the query optimizer. Okay, then it will execute the canet transaction. Okay, canet transaction. So here we have a runtime processor. What this runtime processor will do? It will execute the privilege commands applied by the DBA. It will execute the query plans generated by the query optimizer, and it also executes the canet transaction, okay, generated for the parametric and application programmers. Okay, so now it works with system catalog. Again, you can see here there is a link between system catalog and runtime processor. Okay, so it works with system catalog and may update it with statistics. Okay, it also works with storage data manager. You can see the link here. Okay, storage data manager, which in turn uses basic operating system services. Okay, operating system is backbone. Without that, no other any software will not work. Okay, so for carrying out lower input and output. Okay, so you can see storage data manager is performing some input output from the database. Okay, so it will runtime processor will contact storage data manager to perform some basic or lower level input output or input output. When I say input output, it is read or write. Okay, read or write operation. Reading means accessing the data from the database. Writing means updating the data or putting the data into the database. Okay, to perform the read write operation between the disk and the main memory. Okay, disk and the main memory. Next, the runtime processor handles other aspects of data transfer, okay, such as management of buffer in the main memory, okay, like that it will also do. And also we have concurrency control. You can see here in the box it is written concurrency control, backup recovery subsystems, okay, are separately as a module. So you're just given separately as the model. All this is possible through all the coordination of all this runtime processor and the stored data manager. That's why in between it is written. Okay, so they have integrated into the working of the runtime database processor for the purpose of transaction management. Okay. Okay, hope it is clear for you. So here, it will be common to have the client program. client server architecture, mostly is client server architecture will be there. So it is common to have the client program that access the DBMS running on the separate computer or device from the computer on which the database resides. Okay, so like a client computer, it will be running DBMS client software. Okay, and we have a database server which will be having the database or database catalog and the stored databases. Okay, so next we have here one more thing. Hope I told you all modules for you. Okay. Hope it is clear for you now. All the modules we discussed. So upper part is for the interface of interfaces of user, and lower part is actually the main components of the DBMS system. Okay. So we have here stored database. Okay. These are some of the components of DBMS. Next, I'll just move on to the next slide. Yeah, we have database system utilities. Database system utilities. In addition to uh, processing the software modules, whatever I just told you, okay, most DBMS have database utilities that help the database administrator to manage the database system. So some of the functions of that database utilities are loading, backup, okay, database storage, reorganization, performance monitoring. Okay, so what this loading utility will do? Loading utility is used to load the existing data files such as text files or sequential files or binary files into the database. Okay, so for this we use the tool called conversion tool. Okay, data conversion tools. You can see here. Okay, Synmons Supra Server SQL. It is called as conversion tool. Okay. Then next we have backup. What is backup? A backup utility creates a backup copy of the database. So when the in the banking system or reservation system, if the server goes down, yes or no, immediately another server has to take up the job. Okay, all that is possible by the backup utility. So it keeps the backup copy of the database, usually by dumping the entire database, okay, onto the tape or other mass storage medium. Okay, the backup copy can be used to restore the database in case of any disk failure. Okay, so there is a choice of incremental backup also. So incremental backup also used where only changes, okay, since the previous backup are recorded. What is incremental backup? It will be having, or it will be having only the changes since the previous backup are recorded. So incremental backup is usually complex compared to our ordinary backup. Okay, but it always stores the storage space, because it will all, as and when backup is required, that time it will be taking. Okay, it will store, it will save the storage space. Next we have database storage reorganization. This utility, what it will do, it can be used to reorganize, as the name is telling. Okay, it is used to reorganize a set of databases, okay, database files into a different file organization and create new access point to improve the performance. When and all to improve the accessibility of the data. If we want to reorganize the data files, then this utility will be helping that database storage reorganization. Next is performance monitoring. So performance monitoring, it is very important. Which will be actually giving the speed up of the data access and all. So performance monitoring such as utility monitor databases usage. Such a utility, that is performance monitoring, the utility which supports performance monitoring. Okay, it will monitors database usage and provides statistics to the DBA. Okay, the DBA uses this statistics in making decision such as whether or not to reorganize files or whether to add or drop indexes to improve performance. Okay, all this is done using a performance monitoring utilities. Other utilities also available. Other utilities is also available, okay, for sorting the files, handling data compression, monitoring access by users, interfacing with the networks, okay, and so many other functions, to perform so many other functions. Okay, so this is about the database system utilities. Okay, so utilities are useful to perform following functions like loading, backup, database storage, reorganization, and performance monitoring. Okay, next we have yeah, as I told no, for other things like sorting files, monitoring, interfacing with the network, handling data compression, report generation, the other utilities also available. Okay, so we have some other tools like case tools, data dictionary. Okay, case tools and all in software engineering you would have studied, right? Okay, so here. Case tools are used in design phase of the database system basically. Okay, another tool that can be quite useful in large organization is an expanded data dictionary, or we can call it as a data repository. Okay, we call it as a data repository. So here repository. So in addition to this storing catalog information about schema and constraint, the data dictionary, sorry, catalog means I told it will be storing the schema, description, and constraint. So here expanded data dictionary means in addition to the schema and constraint, okay, it stores other information such as design decisions, usage standards, application program description, and other user informations. Okay, such a system is also called as information repository. Okay, which will be storing all this. Okay, this we also called as information repository. Okay, so this information can be accessed directly by users or the database administrator when they require. So a data dictionary utility is similar to our DBMS catalog only, but it includes what a wide variety of informations and is accessed mainly by users rather than by the DBMS software. Okay, it will be accessed mainly by the users rather than the software. Okay, DBMS software. Next, we have another tool called application development environment. Okay, we have some of the examples of application development environment are like Power Builder of Sybase company, JBuilder, Borland, JDeveloper of Oracle. Okay, these are the some of the examples for application development builders. Okay, so what as the name itself is that this tool provides the environment to develop the application. Okay, for the application programmer. Okay, so that is the main thing. So this system provides, okay, the system like this system provides an environment for developing database application and includes facilities. Okay, includes facilities that help in many uh, facts of the or phases of the database system, like database design, GUI development. Okay, they help in GUI development, to design the database, GUI development, querying and updating. Okay, application program development. They give the environment or the platform where this application can be developed. Okay, so these are the some of the additional tools that will be supporting the DBMS to become a complete system software. Okay, so DBMS also needs to interface with communication software. Okay, what is this communication software means? Its function is to allow user at location, okay, or remote location from the database system to access the database through computer terminals. That means now what all we are doing, say for example we are sitting in at our home and we will be accessing the bank server, yes or no, accessing the bank server to fetch the information, yes or no. So for that and all there is a software called communication software. Okay, communication software. So it means the people sitting at remote place, okay, can access the database system using the computer terminals or workstations or personal computer. Okay, so that is possible by using the communication software. So these are how these communication softwares are connected to the database is through the data communication hardware such as internet routers, yes or no, phone lines, long haul networks or local networks that we call it as a LAN, or sometimes it is a satellite communication devices. So these are the communication devices. Okay. So this hope I told everything about the thing. Yeah, we can see. Okay, whatever I told, communication hardware such as phone lines, long haul network, local network, satellite communication device. Okay, then we have the integrated DBMS and the data communication system. We call it as DBDC system. Okay, integrated DBMS and the data communication system. This one, data communication system, we call it as DBDC. Okay. So in addition to this, some distributed DBMS are physically distributed over multiple machines. Okay. So in this case, communication network are needed to connect the machines. Okay. These are often local area networks, that is we call it as LAN. Okay. But they can also be other types of network, WAN, MAN, all these things, wireless connection, all these things. Okay. So this is about the architecture.